Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves what should be a good one here today, as it's going to be none other than the top bot on the ladder, -0. Gonna be taking on the cheesiest bot on the ladder. It is Xena. Both of these bots are incredible projects in their own way, and looks like Xena is going to be going for proxy racks, letting us know the weight of its strategies, which ones are good, which ones are not. And yeah, we have got -0 probe scouting, but not finding the proxy just yet. And SCV is moving out on the map, but yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this one is heating up pretty quickly. So if we can get, I don't know, let's say 4 likes, because I get the feeling there's going to be like 4 proxy barracks. Although you never know with a Terran until they're done building the barracks. And yeah, leave a comment if you guys haven't already, and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. I apologize if my voice is a little bit more, I don't know, gravelly than usual. I just woke up, and I made myself get up nice and early, because, well, nice and early by my standards, because I've got to go for a drive. I'm gonna go visit some of my family the next few days. So when you guys see me, if you watch the SC2AI tournament, that's where I'll be, as I'll just be casting on a laptop for that. Anyway, we do have -0 scout. The probe is moving around. The gears are probably turning as far as what's coming. We've got a quick zealot. A second pylon in the wall, I think, is very important by the bot author, as this first marine is all of a sudden greeted by a giant alien with laser swords. So that marine is doing a good job kiting the zealot, though, for Xena. It's very important that that does not take any damage to the zealot. So the zealot goes down for nothing, so a very successful start. However, -0 has chrono boosted out a stalker, and a battery is so close to finishing. If this stalker dies, that's going to be huge for Xena. Oh my gosh, it's so close. Oh, the stalker does die. That is bad news for the Protoss bot. However, it does still have 2 more stalkers on the way. Unfortunately, all the chrono boost has already been used, and the marines are crashing the gates. The wall is broken. -0 is attempting to rebuild that battery, but it's just not meant to be. I think at least one of these stalkers should get out, but the problem is there is a lot of marine production. Fortunately, this stalker does manage to escape. We'll see if it's able to be cornered or not by Xena, as this is looking a little dicey for the Protoss bot. That stalker is going to die. However, a battery is getting reestablished on that door, so the stalker gave its life to buy some time. Unfortunately, the battery goes down super quickly, and there's a lot of marines coming in now for Xena. Probes may need to be pulled against this, as the marine count is currently 13 against 2 stalkers. The stalkers are trying to whittle down the marines, kiting back as well as they can. However, Xena's cheese is looking very ferocious in this match. So -0 in a bit of a spot of bother. A solid defense against something like this, like the battery early on, the double pylon was nice, just it wasn't meant to be, unfortunately, it seems. I do believe Xena is going to take this game. I really don't see how Protoss would come back in this situation. The stalkers keep getting cornered. Abyssal Reef is a map with, I guess, a few corners that the bot's units can be caught in. And so now, ladies and gentlemen, it's a good time for me to reveal that this is going to be a multi-part video. Multiple Xena matches anyway, so we'll go ahead and load on into the next one. I do enjoy casting the shorter, cheesy games every now and then. Very solid opening by Xena. -0 has a ridiculous win rate on the ladder, so it's interesting to see the games that it does lose. Like, it's fairly rare that it loses a match. I'll load us into the next game. Alright, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, into game number 2. I think my coffee is finally cold enough that I can start drinking it now, so that's good news. And yeah, Xena is always such an interesting bot to watch. I figured I'd read the description for you guys, as I think bot authors' descriptions are very interesting. The insight they give you into the development and stuff. And for those of you that are curious, you can read any bot's description on AIarena.net. Just click on the bot's profile. Some of them have barely any words. Some of them have massive walls of text, which I'm personally okay with. So the description for Xena is a random bot written in Haskell by Soupcatcher and Breadlobber. She is developed using her own brand new Haskell framework. So they created this bot from scratch, and it is currently version 2.8.18.6 with a nice little log as far as everything they've posted. The ladder ready was the first version, version 1. Then they added speed mining, not terrible micro, choose builds based on history, a natural progression for bots. I myself, at the minute, am making an attempt to create a bit of a crappy bot, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. And it does seem to be the natural progression of what do you want to add to your bot, all right, base functionality, get it all started up and things like that. That's actually why you guys may have noticed that at the end of the match there, like you actually saw my windows pop up when I went to go end the recording. That's because I was actually just recording my monitor as I was doing some programming. Not sure I'll upload that or anything, but I may use it in a video if I make a video about my bot. And also, yeah, maybe I'll live stream or something like that in the future of me pseudo programming. I'm not going to say programming because I use a lot of AI, because it's ridiculous how good AI is at programming for you these days. You just sort of give it the prompts and then it will generally do what you want with a bit of trial and error. Alright, so as far as the builds go, we've got Xena going Terran again. The dice roll on Xena can be very brutal. We had some exciting dice rolls against Tom Test in the SC2AI tournament, where, unfortunately for Tom Test, Xena rolled its best strategy against Tom Test 3 times in a row. We've got Ketrock going 1 base Banshee Cyclone. Xena seems to be playing a bio build against Ketrock, so just going to be building up. I think it said that it was building up to like 60 supply or something. Maybe that was an earlier chat message, but it is cool to see that Xena may have dynamic amounts for like what it's going to do in the build. That's something that will probably take a while for me to get set up in my own bot, but that's something that I do want to set up, like have dynamic information and dynamic builds. So for example, like Xena's doing, you could have a bio build, but then track the results of how like the timing should work against opponents. Because for example, versus Ketrock, maybe it's best to hit with 20 supply, maybe it's better to wait for 40, or I think Xena said 60 for this game, so presumably that's the supply it's going to build up to. But those are elements that you can have dynamically in your bot, and I think it's probably just a good way to get good bang for your buck as far as programming, have better results over time, because otherwise if you just program the same strategy again and again against your opponent, if your bot loses, it loses 100% of the time, whereas if you have that variability, maybe one of your strategies or some tweaks on your strategies will work. We do have a ridiculous amount of Marines being produced for Xena. This is the power of bot speed mining. They are able to just bring in so much money. We do actually have a stuck SCV for Xena, unfortunately, so that is not a very useful worker, and there definitely is a free mineral patch that it could go on. We'll see if that ever gets back to work or not, but supply is growing for the Terran. Stim pack is on the way. Marauders being added. This is just like a crazy Terran. 4 racks all in. No 5th racks, but 4 racks is going to be hitting hard and hitting early against Ketrock. Ketrock is just making an orbital command. I think timings are really going to come down to this because there's a bunker, there's a Widow Mine, there's multiple tanks out for Ketrock. If Ketrock is sort of just chilling at its natural, I think it will be fine in this, or it could be fine in this game. Whereas if it, say, decides to move out and try and take a 3rd base and park its tanks there, then it would be in trouble. We have Ketrock's tanks not sieging right now, which is a little bit concerning. I mean, there's really no reason to wait for a threat to siege the tanks, I think, at the start of the game. Because it takes tanks quite a while to siege. Like, it does take them a long time to get into that. And if enemy bio is charging forward, that could be a little costly. So we're going to see whether Ketrock is actually gets those up and in position in time before this battle. Right now, the income, Xena has the lead. It's produced a few more workers, maybe just got a... Yeah, incomes are quite even right now. I guess the difference is Ketrock is just mining more gas as it wants to go for a Banshee style. Banshees, which could definitely help out against this mass bio style, although Xena is about to have out 60 supply. So we're going to be getting close to that move out. And it looks like Xena wants to wait to actually have the real 60 supply, because if we look at the actual army supply right now, then that... if we actually look at that, the actual supply is kind of misleading, because right now the Terran has got, I don't know, like 8-9 supply tied up in production. So Xena should move out, I think, sometime close to this, now that it's really getting up there in supply. But who knows? Maybe it's waiting for a +1, maybe it's waiting for a combat shield. There's all sorts of timings you can make your bot wait for as you program it. Ketrock is moving out to secure up that third base. That's quite unfortunate. That means the natural is wide open for Xena to just slide on in there. So that is concerning, and that's the risk of programming a bot that just defends the outlying expansions. You can be vulnerable to other attacks, and I'm getting a little nervous here for Ketrock, as, I mean, it's got a whopping 4 siege tanks, but if they're not in the right position, that could hurt. Xena itself, though, is actually just going for an expansion. I thought it was just going to move to defend that. Instead, it's actually going to be going for the attack. We do have Ketrock's Banshee coming in to get some counter harassment done. It burns a scan of its opponent. Ketrock, meanwhile, is making 4 Vikings, but no more Banshees, which is a little bit concerning here, as Xena is getting ready to move on out. We'll see if the tanks can reposition. The Banshee did actually die. 2 scans were dropped for Xena. That bunker is there. Xena is moving in. Is it going to go for the third? It looks like it is. So Ketrock will actually have a chance for its tanks to hit this bio. Xena is stimming on in, though, on top of the tanks just in an instant. The 4 tanks are vaporized. Holy cow. That is not good for Ketrock. Oh my gosh, Xena's bio, like, I thought it was just going to slide into the natural, but apparently it just pushed right on in and just killed everything for Ketrock. That is ridiculous how strong Xena's bio build is here. And unfortunately for Ketrock, I think Xena is just going to take this one. I really don't see this much bio failing, unless there's like a Banshee miracle or something. I mean, Ketrock did have a 4th base on the way up, but I guess that just got canceled upon the attack or something. And yeah, now the natural is being gutted. The +1 on the bio is super duper strong. Banshees are being produced. More command centers are being built. I mean, there's a chance that Ketrock will be able to, say, have a Banshee clean this up, but it looks like the Banshees are programmed more so to go harass than they are to try and defend inside the main base. Now armories are going down. This Banshee is going to try and do something, but look at that immediate scan by Xena in order to push that away. So that's something that's very important if you program a bot to have, a Terran bot anyway, to have scans in your pocket, and Xena seemingly does as it keeps dropping those down. So the Banshees are just going to have a difficult time. The scary thing about Xena is how well it macros behind its cheese sometimes, as it actually goes ahead and builds not a 4th, but a 5th, and also a 6th command center on location. Yeah, I think Ketrock is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bot matches. I read all your comments, and yeah, believe it or not, saying more bots helps us with the YouTube bot. And you guys really just always blow it out of the water with the likes, the comments, and the subscriptions. So yeah, do all those things. And then if you do want to support these daily casts, consider becoming a YouTube member. I might put it towards upgrading my setup at some point, because at some point we may need to enter the 4K age, so then I can do 4K videos. As I'm gonna knock on wood. I've been lucky with my setup that, like, I've got some very old hardware. I think I'm still some of you guys may be as well. I'm still rocking a GTX 1080 just because I only play old games like Starcraft, so I get away with it. And and I've got monitors that are probably close to that age as well, but they work darn well. So, yeah, that's very lucky. You don't necessarily always need to upgrade your PC or anything like that, but now that I'm posting daily videos, it's like, maybe I'll make the leap to 4K at some point. Anyway, thanks so much, everyone, for tuning on in. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.